It's Thursday, March 14th, 2013. I'm Kevin McShann, and this is the McShann Sports Beat Report.
Reggie Bush, the number 48 free agent on NFL.com, the number 4 running back on NFL.com, has a new home. He is a new member of the Detroit Lions. Reggie Bush is going from South Beach to Ford Field. That is a 4-year contract to team up with Matthew Stafford and the Detroit offense. Welcome back in. Continuing coverage, day 2 of free agency. Andrew Siciliano, Brian Baldinger, former Jets GM Mike Tannenbaum into the big screen because he deserves the big screen. Solomon Wilcott's there on Bengals camp. Reggie Bush, guys, what do we think? 1,000 yards 2 years ago, 986 this past season. He's at 220 carried back the last couple of years. How do we think he fits in Detroit?
I like Miami. You look at Detroit right now, they're an explosive offense. Obviously, with the quarterback there, a couple 5,000 yards passing season, Megatron on the outside. They've been looking for a back. They can do a lot out of the backfield, both in the receiving game as a check-down receiver, and somebody that can give them consistent carries. I mean, they haven't been able to keep Javid Best or Mikael LaSure healthy or anybody else that's been there. I think this is a good fit. Detroit can keep the explosive offense intact, and Reggie Bush will help them in a way that they haven't had that kind of production.
I like the signing on both ends of it, and here's why. From Detroit's perspective, Scott Linehan loves to get the back involved in his offense. This is going to make guys like Nate Burleson better, Brandon Pettigrew better. It's really going to make Stafford's completion percentage increase because he can dump the ball off there like long handoffs. And if I'm Reggie Bush, what I'm telling him, if I'm sitting there and I'm Martin Mayhew, it's like, look, Reggie, you can hit 100% of a double. You can finish your career here. Share the load with Mike LaSure. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can play, we can extend your career by 2 or 3 years on the back end, and you can help us get over the hump. So I really like the signing. It puts the best draft choice behind him, and it's a great 1-2 compliment.
Guys, I think it's a great deal for the Detroit Lions. Significant to add another playmaker in what is really already an explosive offense, and I think Reggie has to really embrace the role. He's already proven he could be that 1,000-yard rusher. When I've talked to him, he said he wanted to prove that he could do that. He went to Miami. He was able to do it. I think we now know that we can put that to rest. But in this offense, they'll be able to get him the ball in space where Reggie Bush is at his best, where he can help this offense go to the next level. At the end of the day, I will say this, there's still more work that needs to be done because as good as Reggie Bush is, as good as Scott Linehan is at running this offense and putting points on the board, the area where they have to get better is not only running the football, but the tough, hard yards to close out ball games, to be a better running football team down inside the red zone. I'm not so sure Reggie Bush gives them that, so I still believe there's work that needs to be done just to secure those areas on the football team.
You know, you mentioned Mike Javid Best, and most expect Javid Best to move on probably from football, not come back with the Lions, although we certainly wish him the best. We did see, as Solly alluded to, a different Reggie Bush the last couple of years, a guy that was willing to lower the shoulder. Is he going to be that Reggie Bush, or are you convinced he can be that guy, or is he Javid Best's replacement here?
I think, in Miami, he got a chance to run between the tackles. He He seemed reluctant to do it. He wasn't good at it in New Orleans. That's why they let him go.
He got better at it.
He got much better at it. And if you look at Scott Linehan, they're a spread offense. They're a 3 wide receiver, tight end, and a 1 back. And so he's going to get a lot of chances to run from a spread offense where he can either run between the tackles, or if it takes it getting outside, he's got the speed to do that. So I think it's actually a perfect system that they run in Detroit to fit his skill set.
I agree with you guys. What's the number one attribute of running backs that have long-term careers? It's the ability to make people miss. That elusiveness. A guy like Curtis Martin, he can make you miss, and that extends your career. And Reggie Bush has that attribute. On a 3rd and 1, if he's in the game, we've seen his toughness. He'll lower his head. But again, get him the ball in space. It'll make that offense even harder to defend with Calvin Johnson, Burleson, and Pettigrew.
Screen game.
Yes, I really like the signing, and I like it for Reggie Bush too, because this should add years to his career on the back end.
Solid.
And I think we all know that Reggie Bush is going to be able to do those things. I think Baldy even talked about it. Yeah, he did prove that he could pound it in between the tackles. However, the red zone is where teams really take their game to another level. This is where the New England Patriots, this is where the New Orleans Saints, the teams that are traditionally ranked very high in the National Football League in terms of point production, their ability to score inside the red zone, the ability to run the ball at the end of games in the final 4 minutes, the closeout games where you're not having to throw it or put the ball in harm's way. In my mind, that's what the Detroit Lions have to take the next step on the offensive side of the football. I'm not sure that Reggie Bush gives them that.
Well, what you talk about, Sally, is can you run the ball when you have to run the ball? Right. That's what really what you're speaking to right there.
That's right.
88 receptions for Reggie Bush as a rookie when he was back with the Saints. That's career high. Maybe we see him approach those numbers as well in Scott Linehan's system.
When shopping for groceries during the NFL's free agency period, it must be done with a clear sense of your team's philosophy and vision for the future for the Detroit Lions. The top priority atop their shopping list this offseason was replacing the speed element they lost, with the ailing job at best unable to fully recover from his history of concussions, and the team has appeared to have accomplished the task at hand by agreeing to terms on Wednesday with ex-Miami Dolphins running back Reggie Bush on a 4-year deal, which will allow Detroit to reinsert the dynamic dimension to their offense behind quarterback Matthew Stafford. Bush's 4-year deal with Detroit is reportedly worth $16 million. In addition to landing Bush, the Lions also inked deals with former Houston Texans safety Glover Quin. They re-upped their homegrown product and cornerback Chris Houston, and they reunited defensive end Jason Jones with head coach Jim Schwartz, who served as his former pupil during their time together as members of the Tennessee Titans. Jones also has a local tie to the area. He played his college football at Eastern Michigan University, and he's a native of Southfield. Quinn comes to the Lions after leading the Texans in tackles with 84 in 2012. He also accumulated 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and a sack. Quinn switched positions from cornerback to safety when Wade Phillips took over the helm of the Houston defense in 2011. He has 314 tackles and 5 sacks in 63 career games in the NFL. Houston inked a 5-year deal with $25 million to remain in Honolulu blue and silver, while Jones dotted the I's and crossed the T's on a 3-year agreement with the team. Houston had 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and 56 tackles for Detroit last season, his 3rd with the club. He posted a career-best 5 interceptions in 2011, the first playoff appearance for Detroit in over a decade. In 87 career games, Houston has accumulated 332 tackles 11 interceptions, and 4 forced fumbles. In 2 seasons in South Beach, the ex-USC Trojan product ran for 2,072 yards and 12 touchdowns. Bush, 29, played in every game for the Dolphins in 2012, falling just short of his second consecutive 1,000-yard season. In 91 career games, Bush has tallied 4,162 rushing yards, 2,730 receiving yards, and 48 touchdowns, 29 rushing, 15 receiving, and 4 as a return man. The last Lions player to accomplish a similar feat as Bush did in Miami was Hall of Famer Barry Sanders, who posted similar numbers in 1997 and 1998, dangling an opportunity to be a potential feature back and in a starting role over holdovers Mikel Nashor and Droik Bell was enough to convince the veteran Bush to forego free agent visits with the Arizona Cardinals, Cincinnati Bengals, and Washington Redskins. Head coach Jim Schwartz, who was in Nashville, Tennessee, with the Tennessee Titans as their defensive coordinator during the heyday of the smash and dash tandem of both Chris Johnson and Lendell White, has often envisioned creating the same role here in the Motor City. Both Schwartz and Bush met with the media on Wednesday to field questions on why this marriage will be a perfect fit and what it means for the Lions offense on the field.
The thing that was important to us was not just the talents of Reggie Bush, but also the way those talents complement the other players we have on offense, notably Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford. And, that was really the basis of our interest in Reggie and trying to make such a strong push to get him here and be a weapon in our offense. We had a sore need for explosive runs on offense. We were last in the NFL in explosive runs last year. And, with the boxes that we see, with the way that the dynamic with Calvin works, it provides opportunity for running backs to make dynamic plays in our offense. So, I think that was the most important thing. But, since our free agent meetings began about a month ago when we started going through this process, we have a guy on our staff now, John Bonamego, who was at New Orleans with Reggie. And in all the other research we did, people in his background and everything else, we already knew his talent. We could see that talent on film, and we knew how that talent fit our offense. The thing that we didn't know is what a good guy he is, and what a humble person he is, and what a student of the game he is. And we think he's going to fit very well in with the rest of our locker room. And I'd like to welcome to Detroit, Reggie Bush.
Feels like I got drafted all over again. It was, to have guys of that caliber, Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders. I believe we mentioned some on Twitter, and other people too. It means a lot, and it means a lot to have support in a situation like this. This is the first time I've ever been a free agent, so this is unfamiliar charted waters for me. So I was very nervous. I didn't get any sleep last night. In all honesty, I was talking to the coaches. I got about 2-3 hours of sleep last night just because I was up. I was thinking and just thinking about all the possibilities and we had such a great meeting that it almost seemed too perfect. But I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to get this thing on the road and get to work because I think it's going to be a good thing, and I look forward to winning a lot of football games here.
So you might see the 67-man box. Is that
Oh, it's a running back's dream.
that's the first thing we talked about. When we're watching film and I see those safeties deep and the safeties rolling over, double coverage and Calvin Johnson, it's a running back's dream. And, we have to be able to run the ball in this situation. And that's partly one of the reasons why I wanted to come here is to be able to bring a balanced attack and help take some of the pressure off Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford and just compliment them. So, I think it's going to work out well. Some of the other things that is on you to this team? Just speaking with Coach Schwartz and Coach Linehan, and the language was the same. The way we talked about football and the things that we wanted to see out of this thing was the same, and it just made sense. It felt right from the beginning, like I said, it just made sense. Everything made sense, and they didn't really have to sell me too much on it. They could have just pulled up one clip, and I was already sold.
The number of carries you're comfortable with, and since you've been playing it, since you got to the pros, you found out I'm more effective at this number. I want to keep my touches to this number.
Yeah, I've done the 3-4 carries a game. I've done the 20-25 carries a game. I'm comfortable with when we win. That's what I'm most comfortable with. That's what I'm here for, is to help this team win. And I'm not so much worried about my personal stats. I think I'm at the point in my career now where winning is the most important thing to me, and I felt the same with the coaches and the players here too. So, it's not about numbers. It's just about how we can be the most successful on the football field on Sundays.
How concerned are you about the team sort of taking a step back last year, and after making the playoffs the year before, are you confident that they can keep winning and going forward?
I'm extremely confident. When I was in New Orleans, my rookie year, we went to the NFC Championship game, and then the next 2 years, we went. One year we didn't even make 500. I think we were 7-9, and another year we were 9-7. So, and then the following year we ended up winning the Super Bowl. So, I'm not so much worried about records. What happened last year? Every year is a new year. What happened last year has no bearing on what's going to happen in this season, and that's the way we have to approach it. We have to approach it as a new year and learn from the mistakes of last year, but at the same time, figure out a way to get better.
You didn't sleep much last night because you were thinking about the possibilities. Can you share some of the dreams, thoughts that you
just the possibilities of being out there on the football field and with Calvin and Stafford and all the other guys out there and just scoring lots of points all the time. I don't know. That's a question you gotta ask Coach Schwartz, but I definitely know I'll be out there on the football field a lot.
Both sides of the ball, you play quarterback and have teams that struggle at quarterback. What does having a quarterback mean, to a running back?
Yeah, it means a lot. Especially in an offense like this, it means a lot. Having a quarterback who's smart for one, and has the arm strength and accuracy to be able to get the ball out there. And his number speaks for himself. He's thrown for 5,000 yards last 2 years, and so having a quarterback like Matthew makes all the difference. And this offense doesn't work without him.
Matthew was here today. What did he say to you?
Just congratulations. He was excited to have me. And, we've been just talking about, all the possibilities and just the different looks and the opportunities that we're going to have in this offense, and just excited at the opportunity to be able to play together.
Couple more questions. Some of the guys reaching out. How much did they do that over the last couple weeks, players that is, and what did they say exactly?
Say that one more time, sorry.
Calvin and some of the other players, how much did they reach out to you personally over the last couple weeks, and what were those?
It really wasn't a whole lot, just between Matthew and Calvin and Nate Bros, and just sending me texts, just saying, hey, if we ever have the opportunity to play together, we'd love to have you down here and love to have your skill set on this football team, and we love what you do and being a fan, so it's just stuff like that.
Last question, playing in the dome, any appealing factor for you?
No, not at all. I played in the dome, I played outside, I've done both, played on the grass, on turf. Not so much, but I did love the fact that the Lions, have such a strong fan base here, and that the fans, show up and sell out all the home games. That's really important, and hopefully we can keep that going this year.
What number you gonna wear?
I don't know what number I'm going to wear. I know 22 is retiring, so I'm going to have to work on something else. All right, guys, thanks.
Mike Valenti, Terry Foster, Doug Kosh, and Scott the Gator Anderson all took some time out to give their 2 cents on the state of the Lions, and they also took some time to gauge the pulse of the fans as the Lions' talent base got a boost on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. Valenti and Foster. That was nice to hear from Martin Mayhew. It really was. It was good. Terry, how are you? I didn't hear from him. Did you hear? Oh, that's right. He didn't. Oh. Okay. Well, back to work, I assume. All right. Well, Terry. Yes, sir. Where are you at with this? I'm intrigued because I think you're like me. You're kind of waiting to see if they get that defensive piece, if they get the safety, whether it be, Grover Cleveland, the kid from Houston, whoever the hell he is, Deshaun Golson, whatever. I don't think it's going to be Golson. No, I don't either. But if it's another safety to go with Reggie Bush, I don't think you can help but be happy. I mean, Bush fits what they do, and you can't go back and fix the mistakes they've made. They had to sign a guy like Bush because, A, they've blown their draft picks with Best and LaShore, and they either don't have the confidence or the desire to use future draft picks in the running back spot. And Reggie Bush fits here. I'd love to tell you about the money. We don't have it. Nobody has it. We know it's a 4-year deal. I have no idea what's guaranteed or not. We're all floating in space with it, but I like it. And, I haven't heard any reports of Reggie Bush being a bad guy. He's a solid guy, a humble guy. I think his skill set's going to fit what they want to do. And I think certainly, you'll complain a lot less when Stafford's checking it down to Reggie Bush than checking down to LaShore or Joey Bell. So I like it. I just need more information before I tell you I love it. And I need to see what they do, maybe the remainder of today, in locking up Louis Delmas's replacement. But I'll throw the number out. We'd love to have you aboard and get your thoughts on it. I know it's a middle of a segment, kind of middle of a deal, so we'll reset everything. But 248-539-9797. Terry, your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts is this. I guess I'm in the light range, but I think what the Lions needed to do was replace Javed Best's speed. And Bush is fast, but he's not Javed Best fast. So, they may have a more accomplished running back. They may not have the burning speed that they have with Best. But here's the other thing. At least maybe the guy's going to be on the field. Javed Best was not on the field, wasn't going to be on the field with the concussion problems, and no, he hasn't been released. But my guess is Best is he's gone. He probably won't play football anymore. But I was against the Golston signing because I didn't think they could do anything else. They had to come up with Bush and a safety. Now, if they don't get a defensive player out of free agency, which I think they're going to do, then today's a failure. You're assuming, they've already signed a defensive end, but I'm assuming they're going to come up with a safety too. We're going to hear a safety. It may not be today, but the next few days we'll hear a safety. If it's a good safety, then I'm going to say, hey, thumbs up. Thumbs up for this whole thing. I'm with you. I'm kind of in the friend zone with you. I like it. They needed to do it. I think it's tough to take one of these hard line stances when you don't know the money. Now, if it comes out that they paid him $6 million a year, I'm going to go, oh, geez. Okay, a minute here. Mike, what if this rumor that I heard last week was true? That Bush wanted 4 years, which they signed him for $16.25 million. I can live with that. Okay. That's just about going to be the going rate for a veteran of his skill level. I have no issue with that. I'm fine with it. But without knowing the money, you got to just take a cautious approach. I like it, though. I can't hate on it. And I know a lot of people are going to get angry because of, Javed Best and LaShore. And, well, you can't go backwards. It is what it is. No, they don't draft well. Would I have preferred they drafted a young back this year? Yes. Would I have preferred they did it in the middle rounds? Yes. They're not going to do that. This is what they wanted. And you know what? It's hard to make a case that whatever rookie they drafted this year in the 4th, 5th round or higher was going to be able to do what Reggie Bush could do. Sue restructured his deal. Good on him. I respect that. That's a great move. Needed to happen. There's another guy on this roster that needs to redo his deal. We'll move on. Bottom line is, they had the money to do it. This is a vet. It's a guy who's won. It's a guy who understands what it takes. It's a guy who can catch the football out of the backfield. It fits what they do. It's a speed element. I like it. If we're going to get to Love, I need him to go get a safety, and I need to find out the money on it.
Greg 485-3997-97. Valenti and Foster 97-1.
I think this is a fine signing, not a great signing, but
Does it help the offense?
yes, it helps the offense. It's hard to pass final judgment until we see what the money is and how much space against the cap it took up. But it sounds as though Reggie Bush wanted to be here, wanted to be a part of this team, really liked what they talked about when they talked about the role he would play with this team. And he says he wants to be used the way he was used in New Orleans. We'll hear more from Reggie Bush shortly. We go to Calvin in Detroit. Hi, Calvin.
Hey, it's Kevin from Detroit.
Yes.
They need a playmaker like Reggie Bush. He can return punts. He can return kickoffs. They need someone to stretch the offense like Calvin Johnson. He'd be a help in the offense if they use him in the proper way.
Well, he'll return punts. He's only returned one kickoff in his life, but he could return punts if they want him to.
Right.
He did 6 last year. His return is going to be over.
If he wanted to step back, to come out the backfield, I think he'd be a very good plus for the Lions.
The only downside, again, is potentially the money. And the other thing is I did really like the market. And it doesn't exclude them from doing this. I did like some of those mid-round backs. We mentioned Niall Davis earlier, Kenyon Barner.
I like Barner.
Guys that bring speed to the table that very well could be the mid-round addition to this team from the running back position that I would have felt good about going that direction. I don't know how much Barner is the market is boosted because of the success of Michael James and what he provided for San Francisco. People think that maybe that Oregon running back can be versatile in that way, but I tend not to fall into that category. You don't draft a quarterback every year from Louisiana Tech because Terry Bradshaw went there. You know what I'm saying? And I don't downgrade Matt Barkley because Matt Leinart went there, and other SC quarterbacks. Mark Sanchez haven't exactly excelled in the league.
As his press conference continues to be delayed for the start, do you get the feeling that maybe they're trying to work out something for
Glover Quin? That's something that you and I have talked about at great length, and we're hoping.
Please.
Well, please.
Please.
Why, so you can be right in your prediction? Or
No, it's about the Lions. What's best for that team? And I think what's best for that team is they get a safety. Not putting a shiny thing out there on third down.
Well, it is.
I think the offense will benefit. They will definitely benefit by having Reggie Bush. No doubt about it, offensively. The bigger needs are on defense.
Well, it's an absolute necessity to address the safety position. With Chris Houston back at corner, the addition of a safety is something that you might be waiting to get word on, and that could be the delay in this news conference, is that they figure there's no point starting this and then holding another one 35 minutes from now. Let's get this whole thing done. You know, that would be a good day for the Detroit Lions. Like I said, this feels like the top of the first inning in a big game, the offseason being the game in a 9-inning affair. It's a good top of the first. They're either getting them 1, 2, 3 or putting a lot of runs up because they've done some of the blocking and tackling and the necessities they needed to do. Will there be ruining of this day, Gator? You think people will be upset come the regular season that who they signed or who they didn't sign?
Only if they don't address the safety. No, honestly, if they don't address safety in free agency, then yeah, this will be something we'll be harping on.
The fact that
they didn't get it done.
They signed Reggie Bush.
Yeah, I still think they'll get a safety. I just hope it's today.
Let's go to Matt in Dearborn. You're on 97 1 a ticket. Hi, Matt.
How you doing, gentlemen?
We're good, Matt.
I'm not. To me, this is the same old. I think it's a fluff signing to get your standard football fan in. Look at the shiny diamond. It worked for somebody else. A lot of fluff and no substance. They need defense. Pure, plain and simple. They scored enough points last year. This was a fill-in because Best is going to have to retire because of medical reasons. That's all this is. You could have gotten as good a running back cheaper in the draft. Horrible signing, same old Lions.
Well, let me ask you a question. It doesn't preclude them from getting defense, does it?
It's not. By the way, free agency doesn't end.
No, it doesn't. But what I'm saying is I think for the value, if you're going to spend this kind of money and you're going to do that, then you go get a cornerback, you go get your safety, you go shore up your defense.
Well, today, just keep in mind, Matt, just real quick, they signed a corner today. They very well might sign a safety today, but you'd put all the money into defense.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
just proven we can score. I mean, not all of it. I mean, obviously you're going to have to think of some things, but I think the reasonableness standard would be, in my estimation, on the defensive side. That's why they lost. It's why they went to 4-12.
Well, I think the bigger reason they went to 4-12. If I were to signify one thing, it's 10 free touchdowns they gave the opponents in the return game, interceptions,
fumbles, scooping scores. That to me was, in my opinion, the single biggest reason they went to 4-12. Their defense did stink, though. And as long as there's, like, for instance, if Reggie Bush is the primary offensive addition, and their first 2 picks in the draft are defense, and today they signed 3 defensive players, a corner, a safety, and a defensive end.
If they sign a safety.
If they sign the safety, they already signed a defensive end and a corner. The defensive end is nothing to start holding a parade about, but he's a guy, and they did need a body there. But if they go into the draft, and in the first 2 rounds they walk away with a corner or a linebacker and another defensive end, I will feel like they made an ample effort to improve the defense with the resources that they had. You know what I'm saying?
The Lions making it official now as they've tweeted out a picture of Reggie Bush signing a contract with Tom Lawand.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. No huge surprise. Can you see the money?
No,
Zoom right in.
I was not able to zoom in.
And see how much money they're signing for? So Reggie Bush, a Detroit Lion, a member of the Detroit Lions, and this is something that, I gotta say, media was way out ahead of. It's been talked about forever. I wondered, there wasn't a lot of people saying that was not going to happen, so...
The Lions kept their promise as the free agency frenzy is fully underway across the NFL to be selectively aggressive as a flurry of activity continues to happen. They had a marked man at the start of this process, and they went out to execute the deal. Reggie Bush certainly provides them with something they were lacking: explosive plays in the running game on offense. With Bush still in the prime of his career, 1 year shy of 30, the Lions have made what they hope to be a solid investment for the future as their rebuilding and retooling project continues. While I remain lukewarm on the signing of Bush, I can understand the logic behind the move. With Javid Best's future in the NFL continuing to look grim, the Lions had to protect their best interest at heart by signing Bush, the best free agent fit at running back on the market in free agency for them. Furthermore, the Lions continued their spending spree on Wednesday by signing both Glover Quin and Jason Jones at 2 positions of need. With dynamic safety Louis Delmas a cornerstone of the defense, some may be disappointed to see him leave via free agency, but the dynamic playmaker in the secondary has the same problem as Best. He can't stay healthy, not playing a full season during his 4-year career. So with Louis Delmas firmly supplanted, it seems out the door, Quinn is a solid replacement with a knack for staying healthy in the back 7 of the defense, while Jason Jones is a solid role player, and he gets to come back home both to his roots and to his former coach. So all in all, while Bush is the biggest free agent fish the Lions have scooped up during this free agency Wednesday, it was a solid day all around for the team, as they're better today than they were yesterday. And while there are still plenty of holes to fill, both at linebacker, corner, and defensive end, Lions general manager Martin Mayhew, head coach Jim Schwartz, and team president Tom Lawand are off to a solid start as the Lions continue to add to their revolving nucleus. Will it translate to wins in 2013? Only time will tell, but if this evidence is proof in the pudding, the Lions should deserve a solid pat on the back for the moves that they've engaged in. Kevin McShann, Sports Beat, reports.